Today I'm going to use one color as a shading materials for my drawing. What color I'm using? I'm using this burnt umber. Now just put enough color here. Don't put too much because the color is going to dry, and unless you're going to use it again, that's good enough. The brush I'm using is the round brush. It's number 12. It's a sable hair. It's very good for water medium. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to shade the shadow side of the main objects, and then we're going into the background. Okay, just going to use shade in the big shape. Okay, I'm going to take this color. I'm going to put it in the whole shadow side. That's good. I'm going to put in some color in here too for now. I'm going to have this color keep coming down here and coming down over here too, and then have the color into the background. Here you go. So you're gonna have the table colors a little bit darker. I'm gonna leave that to be a little lighter shape. Going around at the top here in the background. I'm gonna have this color coming down in this too, because this is actually going to be a darker shape. But let's wet the table. All the way coming down to the front. Okay, and I have that good. And what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna set a little darker tone on this side when the paper is still wet and the color can travel a little bit better. Okay. Like that. And now I'm gonna leave there. I'm gonna come into this area is a little bit lighter. So I'm gonna let go some of the paint in my brush and just almost just water with the color spread. That's good. I'm gonna coming down over here a little bit, surrounding the outside edge of the light side of the paper roll, like this. Okay. And at the front over here, I also want to make it a little darker. So you focus on the bigger shape right now, still in the bigger shape. Like that. I have the feeling to catch the shadow. I can make this area darker too. If the color bleed into the other shape, which is okay, don't be too panic about it. Okay, what I'm going to do now, I'm going to wash my brush. What I'm going to do, I'm going to use a little lighter of this color, and I'm going to working into the light side. But since the color is still wet, so if I have the wet brush, as soon as you're not bring in too much water, and it's a little damp brush, and just tap on this termination line. It actually will soften the edge and bring the color bleed into this soft middle tone area, like this. You can at the same time create a little texture. Okay, that's good. And on this side, I'm going to lift up a little color to make some reflected light. Okay, just the clean brush. And I'm going to just use this to remove some of the color. Like that. It would have the feeling of the table actually reflect, or the paper here reflected some of the light back to the shadow side of the paper roll, like that. That's good. But on the top over here, I want to have another layer of color, make it a little darker. Because of translucent color, if you apply even a light colors again on top of a colors, it will look darker than before. Okay, now this is darker. Now come to the top here. I want it to be even darker, but there's a limit of how dark the color can go. 100% of this color is only about that value. So you only have a range of value that's from that color to no color, which is white, the white of the paper. Okay, now the darkest colors, now it's over here. Now I come down here, not so dark, make it a little lighter. The bottom over here, now I'm going to work into the details. A little gap. Because of this watercolor, I can use a nitty eraser. So what I'm going to do, and don't worry, we actually have another way to take the color out, similar to the nitty eraser. That is water. Okay, I'm going to add a little detail here. Now I'm going to clean my brush. Now I'm going to make sure the tip of the brush is sharp, so I can do that. Do the lifting up a narrow light shape. Okay, so I can lift up some color from this light shape. That's good. And at the same time, I want to clean up this edge. And I might also introduce a little bit color here. Good. Into that shape. Okay. And maybe at this time, I'm going to remove too much of color, too much wet over here. I just tap on it. Also at the same time, create some illusion of the texture of the paper roll. Like that. Maybe a little bit over here, I can see a little shape. Those are the details. We can do that in the later part of the drawing. Now on this side, I also use a very light color to tap on to create. You don't have to you don't want to make it too much realistic. It just tap a little bit on it. And for some suggestion of the texture. Maybe over here, the whole thing here, make it a little bit darker. Now I'm going to use the water as the eraser again. Over here, I want to clean up that. Now you can remove it. That's good enough. And now I'm looking at this shape. Can I make this even a little bit darker? Yeah. Just the brown color. Okay, a little bit darker than the color on the paper. Because the table is already dark. And I'm going to have a little line go through that. That's good. Give it a little bit contrast over here. If you think it should be a little lighter, in that case, you should use the water to make it softer. Okay, give a little definition at the bottom over here too. Now I also want to come in here to make this color a little bit darker, the shadow on the table. So you don't have to do that too quickly at the beginning. You can always do that in a later time of the drawing, painting. Maybe the shadow should come in here. Make the edge a little softer. That's good. Maybe the table here can be a little darker too. Soften that. And I'm going to just use a little color. I'm going to actually want to create a little bit darker on the table in here. And I go with the motion over here, and it looks like the light coming from the other directions, and maybe a little bit darker to represent the volume. Okay, I don't want to make it too much definitions. Let me see, maybe a little bit line. I'm not sure it is good. If you don't like it, you can remove it. Maybe a little suggestions over here too. But maybe there's too much tedious shape. I want to just let it go. At the front over here, I don't want this even darker, so I'm going to overlay wash another color, make it darker. Okay. So this is good. And the top over here, I'm going to give a little details. Like that. A little soft. That's too dark, so soften it. Just use the water. A little bit of small shake. You won't do this at the beginning, but at the end, you want to add a little detail to some places that you feel deserve a little bit more attention. Now this drawing shading with one brown translucent watercolor, burnt umber. It's completed now.